So a massive quarterfinal fixture is just around the corner for the Vancouver Sevens, New Zealand versus Fiji. Now this game in the past has been a final. In fact, it was the Olympic gold medal final that we saw a few years ago. Of course, the Olympics just around the corner, but it feels like an eternity since we've seen the Fijians win a leg of the Sevens. Can this one in Vancouver be the one that they finally get the job done? In this preview, we're going to be looking through at the previous fixtures, the key players to watch out for these two sides, and at the end a prediction of who we think will be getting the victory. But we will start with Fiji. Their first game up against the Spanish, they were able to win it quite comfortably, 31 points to 14. They weren't really troubled too much throughout that game, although they did concede those 2 tries, which I think is something that they heavily wanted to improve on as they headed throughout this competition. In their game up against the Canadians, they did also concede the 2 tries, but they managed to get a comeback victory, 22 points to 12. And then their most recent game was very recently up against the Argentines. They did lose that game, 24 points to 19, but it was extremely close. Fiji almost managed to get themselves the last minute try, but narrowly missing out. Perhaps we get to see those 2 sides playing off later on. And the competition for the New Zealanders, they did not start their campaign in Vancouver the way that they would have intended. They were defeated by South Africa, 21 points to just the 12. Their next game up against Ireland, an extremely close one. New Zealand managing to win it 19 points to 14, having to dig deep in that game as Ireland, another side that have made it to the quarterfinals, looking pretty good throughout Vancouver so far. And then their last game up against Great Britain, they did win it 26 points to 5. I will be honest, I don't know what went wrong for Great Britain compared to how they were playing yesterday, where they picked up the victory over Ireland as well as South Africa. Today, just not quite the same side. So in that game between the USA and Great Britain in the quarters, very curious to see how they do go. But New Zealand winning that game by 21 points, building some good momentum heading into this game up against the flying Fijians. Now looking at the key players for Fiji, Filippo Bucchiaro. I felt even in the defeat to Argentina, he was one of the standout performers. He's working hard out there on the field. You can see him just running all over the place, trying to defend, trying to create attacking plays, scoring tries for himself though along the way. He has been very impressive so far. Ponipati Loganamasi, of course I have to give that man a mention. He has scored a lot of tries already throughout this Vancouver Sevens campaign. Would expect maybe 1 more or maybe even 2 in this game up against New Zealand. And the last man, just for the hit that he put in the last contest on the Argentine number 1, Rodrigo Isgro, I'm going to say Kiminelli Risaku. He put in one of the biggest hits we have seen in the Vancouver Sevens, if not the biggest. Completely legal tackle, got him in the ribs, and that kind of physicality and mentality of wanting to go out there, put in a big shot, because if you get it right, your team may end up with that possession. So Kiminelli Risaku, the last Fijian, got my eye on for in this quarterfinal for New Zealand. I am going to go with a man who has got a couple tries recently, that being Akulia Rokalisoa. Not only is he handy when it comes to scoring tries, but he is also a very good kicking option for New Zealand, and more than likely will be the kicker for this quarterfinal match. Alongside him, I am going to go with Sam Dixon. Very similar reason to Akulia Rokalisoa, managed to get himself 2 tries in the last match up against Great Britain. Even though he's one of the older players on the field for New Zealand, he still seems to manage to make all the ground that he needs to. Also, he's a big individual up against Fiji. Physicality for physicality, it's going to be a heavy hitting affair. And the last man for New Zealand, I'm going to go with another experienced veteran, that being Joe Weber. I felt like throughout those first 2 games, he slotted back into this New Zealand side pretty well after being absent for quite a bit of time. So Joe Weber, the third player, and maybe has just that little bit of magic that can create an assist for one of the other Kiwi players. But now we are up to that stage of a prediction. Now, I actually predicted for Fiji to lose that game to Argentina, and the reason I said that was I felt Fiji lately in the Sevens leagues, anytime they make it through to a playoff game, it seems to be somewhere along the lines something goes wrong and they end up getting knocked out of the competition. I said for Fiji to be able to win this competition, they needed to lose to Argentina for the sake of making sure that they know they're not invincible and things will happen out there on the field. that you have to try and fight through. And I think that's exactly what they're going to be able to do here. I think they're going to redeem themselves from that last game up against Argentina. So I'm going to say New Zealand are defeated in this game by the Flying Fijians, 19 points to 14. Close game, but I'm going to say Fiji get the job done in the end. And I'm going to say it's actually a last-minute try for Fiji that helps them win the contest up against New Zealand. So it would actually be the same score as New Zealand had up against Ireland in their group stage match, just reversed. And they would be, this time, on the end of the defeat. But do let me know your score predictions in the comments down below, ladies and gentlemen. We will be doing the live commentary for this game when it does take place. It is kicking off at 4:06 p.m. New Zealand time. So if you are new, also be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I will see you all for the next one.